What numbers and metrics should you be tracking inside your online business? I'm going to tell you exactly what numbers you should be tracking on a weekly or monthly basis. I'm going to give you the thought process behind why you should be tracking those numbers. And I'm also going to give you a spreadsheet in 3 different parts that you can copy and start using today to track numbers in your own business. Tracking is fundamental. If you track your key numbers, there is no world in which you don't start making more money very quickly, because in the online world, so much, well, everything really comes down to numbers at the end of the day. My name is Olly. I'm the founder of StoryLearning.com. It's a multi-million-dollar online education business where I have been tracking statistics of all kinds for the last 10 years. But I'm also a co-founder, investor, and increasingly mentor to other online education businesses who ask me all the time, what should I be tracking? And what I've noticed is it's difficult for people like me because we've been tracking stuff for so long and we're used to tracking in such a lot of depth that it can be difficult to put ourselves in the position of someone who's quite new to this and asking themselves, what should I be tracking? Because it can be very overwhelming at first. And there is definitely such a thing as death by tracking or death by numbers. We don't want to track too much. We want to track just the right number of things that we're going to be able to keep on top of. It's not going to drive us crazy, but it's crucially going to give us the key information that we need to actually grow our business. This is going to be aimed at online education businesses in particular, but really whether you are a course business, an expert business, consultant, author, agency, these are all going to help. This is going to be deliberately simple. So throughout this, you're going to see things which you could argue with. You could say, well, you should be tracking this or you shouldn't be tracking that. This is really meant to be a blank canvas for you if you're really just starting to get your act together with tracking. Also, big shout out to my friend John Ainsworth over at Data Driven Marketing, who is a expert tracker. And we had long conversations about this, figuring out what's the 80-20 of what we should be tracking here. And the conclusion of those conversations is basically what I'm going to give you here. So I'm going to give you 3 parts here. First is the basic KPIs. KPIs, key performance indicators, so your basic numbers that we should be tracking. And then I'm going to show you how to track numbers from your email promotions, simply because email is where so much of your revenue comes from. And then also drilling down into specific lead magnets that you use to convert visitors into subscribers. So let's go through this step by step. At any point, if you want to copy the spreadsheet, figure it out for yourself, there'll be a link in the description below. All you've got to do is go over to File and click Make a Copy. You'll be able to copy it across to your own drive, or you can play with it to your heart's content. So let's start with basic KPIs. If you track nothing else, then you must be tracking these numbers, ideally on a weekly basis. So down the left-hand side, we have the week column, and then every week we're going to be tracking specific things. So in this example, I'm going to assume that you have traffic from 2 places, YouTube and LinkedIn. Obviously, if you have traffic from other places, then feel free to swap those out. The point is, we want to know how many views or impressions you're getting on your main traffic source platforms. If your main platform is a blog, then you'll be tracking blog, unique visits or whatever. So this is your traffic. This is the source of your business. And so we want to know what those numbers are. But the function of those is to get your viewer over to your website so you can capture an email, which means we also want to know how many unique visitors land on our website from week to week. And you can get this from Google Analytics. If you don't have Google Analytics set up, do that yesterday. The next thing we want to track is new email leads overall. So this week I got, say, 146 new email leads. And then from there, we want to take a conversion rate, which is a function of how many email leads did we get from the unique visitors on our website, right? We don't want to take email leads from overall YouTube and LinkedIn impressions, because that can just fluctuate crazily and there's very low intent on a lot of that stuff. The function of your traffic sources is to get people to your website. And then the thing that you can control is how many leads can you get from these unique visitors on your website. So here, for example, we can see that we had 9,600 website visitors and 103 email leads, which gives us an overall conversion rate of 1.1%. Now, is that number good or bad? The answer is it depends. If you get a lot of, say, Google search traffic to your website, then 1.1% is a okay conversion rate. If you get no search traffic and the only people who come over to your website come from YouTube and LinkedIn to a squeeze page, which is designed to collect an email, then you'd be looking for much, much higher than this. But these numbers are all made up, right? So yeah, so this is the stuff that you should track at a bare minimum. We could go into more depth, but I want to make sure that if you are new to this and you're already finding this overwhelming, you have one thing to focus on, and that is this. All right, so track this on a weekly basis. The discipline of tracking stats every week will really help you. And then once you've got this, the questions to ask yourself are, what is my overall conversion rate? So we can see that here from the average. And then what tests can I run to increase that conversion rate? This is very contextual. So this is where we kind of get into strategy. But the point is, the starting point is know your numbers. Then you can run tests off the back of that. And then do you have any fresh ideas for new lead magnets or new strategies that you could run to try and raise that conversion rate? All right, so this is your kind of basics. Now, the reality is for most education businesses that you will be building your list and you might make sales from your website or from promotions that you run on YouTube or whatever. But in most cases, the vast majority of your revenue comes from email. And that can be a combination of evergreen automated email funnels and from promotions that you run. And if you want to dive into the difference between those, how to set up evergreen email automations, how to run email promotions, how to generate revenue from your email list, then I recommend you go over to my website here, ollyrichards.co. I've got a case study. It's 118 pages. It's very big, but it details exactly how my business Story Learning runs. And there's big sections there on email marketing and sales. So I recommend you read that. It's completely free. Just go to ollyrichards.co or click the link in the description and have a look at that. That will tell you how to make money from email. So what that means is, because email is such a significant part of your revenue, we want to be tracking the performance of those promotions. If all you do is send out emails and hope for the best, then you've got no basis on which to improve and iterate. And so we want to track some key statistics from email. Now, this is where you might glaze over if you're new to this, but I'll talk you through it. And all you have to do is paint by numbers. You've just got to enter these numbers and it will spit out in the spreadsheet that I created, it will spit out the results. And what I would say is, if you find this overwhelming, start collecting the data. And then at the very least, 6 months, 12 months from now, you'll be able to sit down with someone who can help you, who'll be able to look through your data and say, right, here's what's working, here's what's not. Okay. So we first of all want to take stats for the overall promotion. All right. So let's say that you run a New Year sale. Then we're going to call this Promotion 1 New Year. We want to list the email subscribers. Not everyone on your list, but the people who receive the email, because you might have a suppression tag. You might only be sending it to a certain segment of your list. So how many subscribers will be receiving the promotion? From there, how many of those end up visiting the sales page? This is unique visitors to your sales page. You can get this from either Google Analytics or your sales software. From the sales page, how many people then click through to the checkout? Because normally you have sales page, step 1, click a button, go to the checkout, step 2. How many people click through there? And then how many sales did you get? Not revenue, but how many individual people bought? This is the fundamental right here. And then from there, you can work out our first key metric, which is what is the conversion rate on the sales page? And this tells you, is my sales page any good? So here we can see that the sales page is converting at 5.6%, which is pretty decent. And then from there, we're going to dig into some more of the weeds. Again, if all you do is, if you want the bare bones, then track this stuff. But I highly recommend you carry on and track the rest of this stuff as well. So some jargon is CNV is conversion, CTR is click-through rate. So we also want to track the click-through rate from the sales page to the checkout. The reason being that it may be that your offer is fine, your checkout page is fine, but there's something wrong with the sales page that is making it so that people are not clicking through to the checkout and buying. And so what this does, this allows us to establish whether there is anything in the funnel that is fundamentally broken. And if you want to dive into funnel testing strategy, there's a video up here that can tell you more about that. But for now, we want to know how many people click through to the checkout from the sales page. This is calculated automatically here. So this is just a simple calculation, uniques on the checkout from uniques on the sales page. We also want to know what is the conversion rate from the checkout to sales. So for everyone who lands on your checkout, how many people actually buy? And we're looking for the conversion rate here. And in both cases, these numbers are probably within what you'd expect. But again, I just randomly put them in. If you get a result like this, for example, where only 12% of people are clicking through from the sales page to the checkout, you might then look at that and think, yeah, maybe the sales page is not quite compelling, or maybe people can't find the buttons they need to click through. And likewise, if you get people clicking through to your checkout page who are then just not buying, you've got to ask yourself, well, is there something wrong with the checkout? They've read the email, they've clicked the email, they've gone to the sales page, they've read the sales page, they've clicked through to the checkout. They, in theory, should be very highly qualified buyers. So why aren't they buying? Is there something on the checkout page that's putting them off? That's the next step. Now, from here, we want to look at what else we're doing in the funnel. You should have order bumps and you should have upsells in your funnel, assuming it's a mature funnel. If you're just throwing it up and seeing what happens, then you might not have those yet. But for any funnel that forms a core part of your business, you'll want that stuff. So we want to know how many people take the order bump. So from the number of people who actually buy, how many of them take the order bump? And then we're looking for a percentage here. These are on the low side. This one here is pretty decent, 20%, could be more, could be 30 or 40%, but whatever. It gives you a barometer to just test whether or not your order bump is working. Right here, only 2% of people are taking the order bump. So that tells you right away, let's try a different order bump. Similarly with the upsell. So unique number of upsells, and then the percentage of people who are converting to the upsell. So again, of the number of people who buy, who get shown a one-time offer, what percentage are buying? And if it's 29%, not bad. But if it's 1% or 14% or whatever, that's on the low side. So then you'd ask yourself, well, do I need to improve that upsell page, or do I just try a completely different upsell altogether? Right. So these are in depth, but you can get all of these from your checkout software. And then you want to calculate the total revenue from the promotion. And what that then tells you is a very important metric, which is your dollar per email. So of all of the people who received your email promotion, what is the dollar value for each email? This is useful as a kind of first principles number. In any kind of promotional funnel, there's so many numbers you can dive into, but if you know that you can send out a promotion to your list and generate, say, $1.20 per email address, then that gives you very important information about your business, because it tells you not only what you can achieve if you wanted to send out a promotion, but also it gives you a way to judge what promotions are not working. Right? So here, for example, this promotion only gives us 60 cents per email. And so we'd ask, okay, well, why is this promotion only performing half as well as this promotion? So you might collect these stats over the course of the year and then go back through all of these at the end and say, you know what, of everything we did, this one, only these 4 really worked. So let's scrap the others and then we'll repeat this promotion next year. It's also useful to know your conversion to the list. So of everyone who received your email, what percentage of people, so everyone who received your email, what percentage of people actually bought? This is conversion to the list. That's useful because you might say, for example, well, look, this one here, 1.3% of people bought. Again, is that a big number? Is it a small number? It depends completely on your business, your industry, your list, everything. But you can say, right, well, this one is obviously popular. So now, is there a way that we could potentially raise the price so that we can make more from the ones that are already performing well? See? So all of this, I know it looks like a lot, but the discipline of collecting this data is very, very important. And then After collecting this data for a while, it gives you the basis on which to make decisions and tests. And this is the kind of thing that grows your business a lot over time. So the questions to ask would be, which offer generated the highest dollar per subscriber? Which order bumps converted best? Which order bumps and upsells converted best to the list? And things like that. Right? There's more questions, but this is just to kind of to guide you. So far we've looked at the basic KPIs to monitor the performance of your business. We've looked at see, there is another thing we could add here, which would be we could add evergreen revenue, and then we could add like dollar value per lead. But the problem is here, this is where things can start to get quite difficult to track, and that's where it will be off-putting for people who are not used to this. So again, I'm going to issue my caveat that this is all quite surface level, but it's a good foundation. So here in the first tab, we tracked number of website uniques and then new email leads, which gave us our conversion rate. But in many cases, especially if your business is not primarily website based, so let's say you get a lot of your traffic from YouTube or from social media, chances are you will be driving people to your website where all you really have is a homepage and a bunch of lead magnets and some landing pages perhaps. So if that's the case, then it becomes quite important to know how those landing pages are performing. And so I would also suggest tracking the conversion of your various lead magnets. So let's say you have 5 different lead magnets across your business, and it doesn't matter whether you send people here, whether you house these lead magnets on LinkedIn or whether they're on your web. It doesn't matter where they are. Point is, your lead magnets are going to be the primary way that you convert traffic into email subscribers for your business. And so we want to know how they're performing. And very simply, we just track them one by one. Lead magnet 1, lead magnet 2, lead magnet 3. We want to know the number of unique visitors who land on there. And just bear in mind, it's worth making the point here that unique visitors is different from hits, because you'll often get people who click through to something 3, 4, 5 times, and then maybe they convert on the 5th time. But you want to count that as just the unique person who visits there. Right? Because that tells you of all of the people who visit your lead magnet, how many subscribe. So we want unique visitors, not hits, not website hits. And again, you can get this from Google Analytics. And I think, for now you can track this number over the lifetime of the lead magnet. So from whenever you started it. How many email subscribers did you get from those unique visitors, and then the conversion rate. Right? Now, why is this important? Because if you get numbers like this, then this tells you something very, very important, right? It tells you that, hey, lead magnet 1, lead magnet 3, and lead magnet 5 are just useless. Like for any lead magnet, you really want conversion to be, minimum 30% up to like 70, 80% even. Again, it depends on a lot of stuff. You don't want it to be single digits. Even 12% is no good. This one though, lead magnet 2, is converting at 67%. So from that, you could say, right, well, look, these ones are performing so badly, let's just kill them all together. And then lead magnet 4, well, why don't we run some tests on that, see if we can improve it slightly. But this one here, that's converting at 67%, your lead magnet 2, this is such a strong lead magnet that tells us that our audience loves this. So why don't we just plaster this everywhere that we possibly can? And then what you'll see is that your email subscribers will just go through the roof immediately, because for every unique person who's visiting your lead magnets, whereas here you're losing 96% of people. Here now you're only losing 33% of people, and that's where you start to get huge compound gains in the size of your email list and consequently on your revenue. Right? So questions to ask here: which lead magnets are performing best? What tests can I run to improve each of them? For example, can I just test the headline? Can I change the image of the thing? Can I add some benefits? Whatever. And are any performing so badly that I should cut them altogether? And we could even ask here, should I expand a winning lead magnet elsewhere in the business? We've had it happen before at Story Learning, and I'd go through this in the case study, where, we have one lead magnet that does so well that actually we start to put that in different places. We use it on our YouTube channel, we reference it on Twitter or whatever. But do you see how, in order to do any of this, you have to know your numbers? And so this is why this is so important. If you are someone who just can't handle numbers, hire a VA, get them to track this every single week, so you can just go in and look at it one way or another, whether you do this yourself or whether you get someone else to do this. Then tracking these things over time is going to be the foundation of you growing and scaling your business. So I hope that was helpful. This is different from a KPIs sheet for your overall business health. There's a different type of tracking, which is more like safeguarding. So this is, what is the overall health of the business? What metrics tell me the overall health of the business that I can track on a weekly basis, such that if one of them drops, it can function as an early warning sign that something is wrong and I can take proactive steps to fix it. If you look at this video over here, then I will show you what I call the alignment dashboard, which not only tracks the key health metrics of your business, but also track some of the key metrics in your life so that you could become a happier, more productive entrepreneur.